When a week kicks off with that strange rhythm that follows a Monday night battle, you already know someone is going to show up on the injury list, and this time it was Dak Prescott. Before the discussion even had time to heat up, the Cowboys staff stepped in to calm the noise, explaining that Dak would appear on the report with a hip issue, but that it was nothing alarming. They framed it as simple soreness, the kind of thing that shows up after a physical matchup, but still something worth paying attention to because every detail around the quarterback matters. The original expectation was that he would take every rep at practice, yet he ended up listed as limited, which immediately shifts the conversation. Wednesday practices after a Monday night game usually fall into that category where players go light, but the league language for injuries forces teams to classify even the smallest restriction. Still, the fact that he was not a full participant stands out because of everything his body has handled across the years. The coaches made it clear that nothing major happened during the game. They said he took a few hits, woke up a bit stiff, and that the schedule makes this the closest thing to a Tuesday for players' bodies. Even asked him, whenever Dak lands on the injury report, fans perk up. The Cowboys do not have the luxury of brushing off anything that involves their quarterback, especially heading into a divisional showdown with a tough opponent. When he's healthy, this offense flows differently. When he's not, the entire rhythm of the team changes, and that history of injuries always creeps into the back of everyone's mind. Dak has always played through bumps and bruises, but the past still lingers. The ankle, the calf, the overuse issues that came from having to carry the offense through stretches. Each one left a mark, and none of them were predictable. That is the part that makes any new issue feel bigger than it may actually be. The coaches insist there is no setback, no hidden testing results, no unexpected twist behind the scenes. Just standard post-game soreness. And the fact that he finished the entire matchup without ever stepping out reinforces that it is likely nothing more than that. But as soon as the word hip appears next to his name, everyone starts thinking about what happens if it tightens up, if it lingers, if one wrong step on Sunday makes things worse. Most likely, he practices fully later in the week. That has been the pattern for plenty of veteran quarterbacks across the league. Some teams barely let their starters touch the field on Wednesdays. Still, the Cowboys' schedule adds another layer of stress. Playing on Monday, turning around for a Sunday afternoon battle, and then immediately preparing for another game on Thursday creates one of those stretches where the training staff has to balance preserving bodies with preparing for high-stakes matchups. A quarterback needs his legs and his hips to be right if he's going to move in the pocket the way Dak has been doing all season, especially against a defensive front that thrives on collapsing the pocket and forcing mistakes. Once the injury report expanded, things became even more interesting. Seeing names like Jadeveon Clowney, Dante Fowler, Malik Hooker, and Donovan Wilson show up as limited adds a whole different conversation about how the Cowboys are navigating the middle of the season. None of these issues appear to slow them down in the last game, and the staff seems comfortable managing reps for veterans who know how to prepare without pushing their bodies too hard. Even so, having multiple defenders listed does remind everyone how quickly depth can be tested. The encouraging part came from seeing Solomon Thomas return to limited participation after missing the previous game with a calf problem. His presence adds stability to a defensive line that looks completely transformed compared to last year, and even a limited practice is a strong sign that he is trending in the right direction. With Peary and Winfrey already practicing fully, the front looks deeper than it has in a long time, though it will be interesting to see who ends up inactive once the rotation is set. The staff has more options now, and that alone is a huge upgrade from situations the Cowboys have faced in past seasons. Clowney dealing with neck and shoulder soreness does not seem to have changed how he moves on the field, and Fowler's shoulder issue has stuck around for several games without fully disappearing. These are the kinds of things that tend to follow veteran pass rushers deep into the season. As long as neither one logs and did not practice, the expectation inside the building is that both will be available. The safeties are in a similar situation. Hooker and Wilson have been battling through manageable injuries, and the Cowboys appear to be monitoring them closely while trying not to overload their snaps too early in the week. With the uncertainty surrounding other players in the secondary earlier this season, having them able to participate even if limited, is a relief. Elijah Clark being completely off the report surprised some people, considering how painful rib injuries typically are. Recovering quickly and returning to full activity gives the defense a bit more flexibility. Meanwhile, Tyler Smith's knee continues to be a weekly storyline. It has become one of those lingering issues that will likely last throughout the year. It would not shock anyone if he undergoes a cleanup procedure once the season ends. Even with the discomfort, he continues to fight through games with the consistency the offensive line desperately needs. While the injury stories grabbed most of the attention, another roster change created a ripple. A rival team picked up linebacker DeMarvion Clark off waivers, ending a long stretch in which the Cowboys try to find the right fit for him inside their system. His athleticism never translated the way the staff hoped, and multiple defensive coordinators reached the same conclusion over time. For him, joining a new team offers a fresh opportunity. For the Cowboys, the move brings unexpected salary relief because the claiming team now takes on the remaining portion of his contract. It is the type of transaction that helps both sides move forward without lingering questions. With the week building toward a crucial divisional showdown, all eyes shift back to Dak. Even a minor hip issue becomes part of the storyline when your quarterback is the engine of the entire operation. The fans want to know if he is closer to 100% or something slightly lower, because those few percentage points can be the difference between extending plays and settling for quick throws. The Cowboys need him in rhythm, confident, and physically comfortable if they want to keep pace in a crowded playoff race. The next practices will reveal more, but for now the focus remains on monitoring his workload, watching how he moves, and hoping that the soreness fades as quickly as the team expects. As the week rolls forward and the anticipation builds, every small update on Dak's status becomes a mini-event. Reporters hover around practice fields, cameras zoom in on every stretch and warm-up movement, and fans dissect clips frame by frame, trying to guess how he feels just by watching the way he jogs or plants his feet. That is the reality when you are the face of the franchise heading into one of the most important stretches of the season. The Cowboys know that even the slightest hesitation in his gait can spark a wildfire of speculation, so they try to maintain a sense of calm, insisting that this is all part of the normal routine after a physical game. But with so much at stake, nobody is really treating it like a normal week. The mood around the facility reflects that blend of urgency and caution. Coaches keep their voices steady, but their eyes follow every rep. Trainers stay close as players rotate through drills, ready to pull someone aside if anything looks off. Even teammates adjust their energy, making sure they ease into practice instead of pushing full throttle right away. They know that this upcoming matchup demands absolute discipline, and the last thing they want is to lose someone to a moment of overexertion on a short week. The rhythm feels different, like everyone is balancing on a tightrope suspended between preparation and preservation. Meanwhile, the conversation around the defensive line keeps growing. Last season, this group operated with flashes of potential, but lacked the kind of steady rotation that strong playoff teams need. This year, the room feels deeper, more versatile, more confident. Seeing Solomon Thomas trending toward a return is a reminder of how much the Cowboys missed that interior stability. The players up front feed off that energy. You can sense it in the way they move from drill to drill, each one understanding that every healthy body adds another layer to what they can throw at opposing offenses. The veterans handle their limited workloads with the calm of players who have done this for years. Clowney walks through technique work with the precision of someone who knows exactly how to manage his own engine. Fowler moves with a smoothness that hides whatever soreness he might be carrying. Even though they are not taking every rep, the younger players around them watch closely, picking up small details about hand placement, timing, and angles. This kind of practice environment becomes invaluable later in the season when injuries stack up across the league and depth becomes the currency that decides playoff pushes. The secondary mirrors that same controlled intensity. Malik Hooker jogs through his assignments with an ease that belies how hard he has worked to stay on the field. Donovan Wilson mixes physicality with caution, understanding when to pull back and when to let the instincts flow. None of them want to give up reps, but they also know the coaching staff is thinking beyond this week. They need everyone available not just for this battle, but for the stretch that follows, especially with the compressed schedule that demands 2 games in a handful of days. In the past, this team has seen what happens when safety depth evaporates, and they do not want a repeat of that scenario. One of the overlooked storylines is how well Elijah Clark handled his return. Rib injuries can linger like a shadow, flaring up with the simplest twist or hit. The fact that he looked comfortable enough to avoid any designation on the report hints at how much discipline he has shown in recovery. His presence gives the defense another reliable piece, and the coaching staff quietly appreciates that kind of resilience. In a season where unpredictability rules every week, having one fewer question mark can feel like a luxury. Tyler Smith continues to be one of the grittiest figures on the roster. Week after week, he shows up listed with the same lingering knee issue, and week after week, he finds a way to push through it. The offensive line depends on his consistency, especially during games where controlling the trenches becomes the deciding factor. The staff keeps an eye on him, making sure he does not carry more than his body can handle during the midweek sessions, but they trust his ability to manage the discomfort. Even though a postseason procedure seems likely once the season ends, he has made it clear through his play that he is not letting anything slow him down right now. The roster adjustment involving DeMarvion Clark sparked its own wave of discussion. Moves like this always remind fans that the NFL can be unforgiving. A player can work for years trying to carve out a role, only for circumstances to shift around him. In Clark's case, multiple defensive systems evaluated him the same way. Elite athletic tools, but instincts that never quite clicked. The change of scenery gives him another chance to prove what he can become, while the Cowboys benefit from the unexpected cap relief that helps them maneuver future decisions. It is one of those rare transactions where both sides get a clean break and a fresh start. As all of this unfolds, the looming showdown dominates every conversation. The players feel it in the air, the coaches feel it in the tension of meetings, and fans feel it in the rising buzz across social media. Games like these do not just alter standings. They shape narratives, create momentum swings, and define how the rest of the season will be remembered. The Cowboys understand that to take control of their path, they need their quarterback steady, their defense disciplined, and their mindset locked in from the moment they step on the field. Dak's presence changes everything. When he moves confidently in the pocket, the receivers attack their routes with more freedom. When he extends plays, the offensive line elevates its protection. When he commands the huddle, the tempo of the game bends to his will. That is why even a minor injury becomes part of a bigger story. The team feeds off his energy, and when he looks sharp, the entire offense shifts into another gear. He knows the weight of that responsibility, and you can see in his demeanor that he embraces it rather than shrinking from it. Throughout the week, the coaching staff works to strike the balance between polishing the game plan and protecting their quarterback from unnecessary strain. Some drills get shortened. Some reps get redistributed. Some pieces of a strategy get held until later in the week to ensure Dak is moving freely enough to execute them. It is a constant puzzle, adjusting every hour based on how his body responds. The staff trusts their medical team, and Dak trusts his routine, but both sides stay alert to the smallest signals. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Dallas Cowboys. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The NFL rumor mill is buzzing, and this time it's hitting Dallas hard. Sources close to team insiders hint that the Cowboys have reportedly secured a deal with none other than Derrick Henry, the bruising powerhouse whose name alone sends defensive coordinators into panic mode. If the whispers are true, Dallas might just be shaping up the most formidable backfield in recent memory. Henry, known for his punishing runs and ability to turn a 3rd and long into a highlight reel moment, would instantly elevate any offensive scheme. Pairing him with the Cowboys' existing talent in the backfield could spell nightmare scenarios for opposing defenses. Fans have been speculating for weeks about Dallas' intentions, especially given their desire to shore up an offense that has flirted with inconsistency. Henry, who has consistently proven himself as one of the league's most unstoppable forces on the ground. Seems like the perfect fit for a team looking to dominate time of possession while keeping their quarterback protected. Imagine the combination: Henry's raw power and punishing style, alongside a complementary back already known for speed and agility. It's the kind of dual-threat backfield that can dictate the rhythm of a game, where down linebackers and force defensive coordinators to rethink their game plans before kickoff. Rumors suggest that negotiations were intense, with Dallas reportedly willing to make significant cap space adjustments to bring him aboard. The franchise appears committed to building around a physical identity, embracing a run-first philosophy that echoes championship-caliber teams of the past. Meanwhile, social media is ablaze with fan reactions. Some ecstatic at the prospect of seeing Henry in silver and blue, others cautiously optimistic, questioning how his style will mesh with the Cowboys' existing offensive line and scheme. One thing is certain: if this deal is more than just smoke, Dallas has quietly announced its intentions to be an offensive juggernaut next season. Henry's presence alone could redefine the team's approach to the ground game, opening up possibilities for play-action passes, clock management strategies, and a level of physical dominance that few teams can withstand. NFL circles are now rife with speculation. Will this be the move that finally solidifies the Cowboys' reputation as one of the league's most intimidating forces? Only time will tell, but the rumor itself is enough to set the football world on fire. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Dallas Cowboys, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. We always look forward to your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.